It's time for the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is the voice of the working class, Rick Smith.
And welcome, brothers, sisters, working class heroes. This is the Rick Smith Show. Thanks so much for being here. Today on the big program, lots to get to, lots to talk about. Let's start off with the big headline of the day. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. What got Mario on the mind? Andrew Cuomo, out. Don't care. I was never a Cuomo fan to begin with. Let's hope his replacement does some positive things for the working people of New York that Andrew didn't. Hopefully move the state forward, hopefully do some good things. I'm ready to be done with the past and move on to the future so we can actually get some stuff done. Again, back to the frame, getting things done. But I do find it interesting, very interesting, that you still got Matt Gaetz in Congress. You still got Donald Trump, who's the most favored of the GOP. I think you got to weigh which side cares about treatment in the workplace. I'm glad he's gone. Bye. It is what it is. Other big news today. The Senate, holy shnikes, did its job. Today, the Senate, I know, did its job. 69-30. Yes, you had 19 Republicans joining with all the Democrats to move forward on the $1.2 trillion investment in our nation. And it was called, aptly, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Pretty simple. We didn't even need one of those cute little acronyms that they like to come up with. It's just the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Because I guess it's so rare that there's some bipartisanship that we can celebrate that it is there. Now, as I said, this is going to hopefully move us in the direction that we start rebuilding some stuff, doing some good stuff there. I do find it interesting that yesterday's headline Reuters put out was GOP gives Trump credit for an infrastructure bill he opposes. and that is apt for today's Republican Party. Yes, this was all Donald Trump, but he's against it. Yes. He was going on the other day about how anybody who votes for this, anyone who gives Biden a win, it's over. Well, they did, and good on them. As I said, they got this through, the bipartisan part, almost immediately moving on to the other part, the $3.5 trillion human infrastructure budget plan that they're going to move forward on. I'm hoping it happens. We need investments in our environment. We need investments in housing and education and healthcare and senior care. We're getting older and older quickly, and we're going to need to do something with people as they do get older. But this bipartisan bill, some good stuff in it. Look, I mean, is it perfect? No, nothing's ever perfect. You're never getting perfect. Let's stop with the I'm only going to get perfect. Never getting perfect. As I've heard said before, there's only been one person who's ever been perfect, and they nailed him to a couple of pieces of wood. Nobody's perfect. Nothing's perfect. This ain't perfect, but it's a good start. As the White House has put out a one-pager saying, look, this is going to create good jobs. It's going to good paying union jobs. They're saying around 2 million jobs per year over the next decade. As we build more stuff, as things expand, they're expecting 2 million jobs a year. Those jobs, especially the building jobs, will be done under prevailing wage law, which means local wage and hour conditions will not deteriorate. We are not going to have transient fly-by-night contractors coming in doing shoddy work and then disappearing. You're going to actually support a local construction base. I am a big fan of prevailing wage laws and project labor agreements. The hope is we get that done that way. There also talk, according to the White House's one-pager, of some growing the clean energy sector and wages in the clean energy sector. Wind, solar, carbon capture, energy transmission stuff, rewiring our infrastructure, the whole grid. if you remember, like I do, I go back to the campaign in '92 when Jerry Brown, who was running governor of California, was running for president. One of his platforms was to hire people to go restring every pole, every electric line in the country. They were going to restring. And the argument back then was some astronomical number, like 80% of the electricity was lost in transmission. And that if you could, make that more efficient, if you could save some of that from being lost, prices might come down. We'd have an abundance of energy. It would be a smart thing, and I agree. It would be a very smart thing. Something maybe we should think about. Also, some EV charging stations on highways, in communities, in gas stations, getting people the ability to take those electric vehicles on the road. I think a smart decision. Also, one of my favorite parts of the bipartisan plan is Buy American. The stuff that we're going to be rebuilding the country with, the iron, the steel, all of the manufactured products, all of the construction material, all made right here. I think that's important because while it's great having the jobs of people putting stuff together, the construction workers building the stuff, we need to have the jobs of people creating the materials to do that. And this bill does this, as we found out. Evidently, 20% of our roads, this is the number they're saying, 20% of our roads are garbage. Or as they say, in poor condition. That means about 173,000 miles of road. That's how much of that they are planning to repave and to deal with 45,000 bridges, probably 5,000 of them right here in Pennsylvania where I'm at. So good stuff. They're also talking about making massive contributions and massive investments in transit workers and public transit and doing the things that we should have been doing all along. There's going to be a good bit of money for that. Going to help the auto industry out because we're going to make electric vehicles here, and they're encouraging the supply chain. You remember the automobile? Remember when all the parts were made here? Remember when Delphi was a massive company? Remember when you could get a car part that didn't suck out of the box? I have a friend who does car work, and he says, half the time you take a starter out of the box, it's junk out of the box. You got to go replace it 2 or 3 times just to get something to work because of the cheap garbage we're getting out of China. So really important to have local supply chains, and one that I would argue would be maybe a little more quality minded. Just a thought. Also going to invest in the areas around the country that are the energy producers, coal and gas and all of that. They're talking about $21 billion in environmental remediation. Superfund sites and brownfields, abandoned mines, those things. They're going to cap wells, all kinds of stuff to reclaim land that has been just, dumped on by the profiteers who have passed on their external costs to us, the taxpayer. And if you want to get mad about that money, get mad at corporate America. And oh, by the way, deregulation. That's what's done that. So I'm thrilled to see that. Maybe we take some of that reclaimed land, maybe we clean it up, and we build some decent housing for people. Just a thought. Also, we're going to invest about $65 billion in our broadband access. Biden wanted 100 million. They scaled it down to 65. Can't do too much, evidently. Now, I would love to have the kind of internet speeds that other countries have, and I would love to have their prices because ours are crazy expensive. I pay more for high-speed broadband access than I've ever paid for a car payment. I mean, think about that. It's crazy. And one of my favorite ones, pipe fitters. If now's the time, call up the pipe fitters union and say, I want to be a pipe fitter, because they're investing a ton of money in pipes. Whether it's the gas lines that are going underneath the ground. When I first moved to Allentown, Pennsylvania, like within a couple of weeks, a house literally just blew up. Somebody was digging in the backyard, hit a gas line, just boom. Same thing. There was a nursing home, like a couple months later, a nursing home around the block. Same thing. Boom, up goes this nursing home. We need to protect our gas lines a little bit better, upgrade them. That stuff hasn't been really dealt with, and 100 years? Kind of time. Kind of time. Also, our water pipes. We need massive investment in water infrastructure. And I know, like, when I moved to the central PA area, Harrisburg was like the sinkhole capital of the world because the water lines underneath were all broken and water was just eroding the underground. And you'd see every once in a while a garbage truck get swallowed up or a bus or something. It was always a lot of fun. Now we got the opportunity to upgrade and do that. But the pipes, kind of one of these moments that I go, pipes are a good idea. And it's something that I've been calling for a long time. Because I saw this story put out by the Barcelona Institute for Global Health. And according to them, bottled water is like 3,500 times more harmful for the environment than tap water. And you go, wow, that's a huge number. It's amazing. Yeah. Just putting something in a bottle and shipping it across country, it's going to be worse for you. When I was a kid, you drank out of a garden hose. When I was a kid, there were drinking fountains literally everywhere. And I know some older people, they're going to tell me, yeah, they had drinking fountains, but they were one for whites and one for blacks. Right, I know. Now we can have one. Now we're big boys and girls. But we don't even have them anymore. Everything's gone to bottled water. So this study out of Spain basically says, look, everything that goes into bottling water, making the bottles, manufacturing the bottles, and shipping them to distribution, the transport, the usage, the disposal, the waste, all this stuff, 3,500 times worse than for the environment than just drinking water out of the tap. Now, they looked at the population of Barcelona and said like 60% of the people there drink bottled water. And you go, wow. So they estimated what would happen if everybody, the entire population, switched to bottled water. And what they came up with is it would cost like almost another $85 million just for the raw materials to make the bottles and all this stuff. And it would kill off almost another species and a half a year. So we don't need another. We got too many already. We need bottled water. And I'm going, I remember when bottled water first hit, I go, what a dumb idea. Who in their right mind would buy water when you can get it right out of the tap? And I remember the whole push to convince you that your tap water's bad. The lead pipes that we haven't fixed. And in some areas, tap water is bad. Evidently, Americans purchase about 15 billion gallons of bottled water each and every year. In fact, it's more popular now than soda is. Soda has been plummeting. And it comes back to this mistrust because people think what they're drinking out of the bottle is better than what's in the tap. But oh no, we don't know what's in that bottled water half the time. Half the time, and this is my favorite, the two big boys, the two big names, do you know what they put in the bottled water? Tap water. You're literally buying tap water. Now, they do a little filtering it because the person who sold me our filtration system at our house, he was very proud of the fact that they actually built and sold one of the big names, their filtration system. Now, it's a much bigger system than mine. Same concept, but obviously much bigger. It's just tap water. They're just literally taking city water, running it through a filter, putting it in a bottle, and charging you like $2-3 for it. And we're buying it up because we've been told that, that tap water is bad for you. Only problem with that is in most places, the tap water is extremely regulated. It has to meet strict standards. In fact, we get I see in the borough that we don't get city water. We still have well water. But in the borough, they tell you what's what. They tell you what the numbers are, the levels for this and that. They have to record all this stuff. Bottled water, not so much. And in fact, what they ended up finding in a lot of places, in a number of the waters, and I'm thinking of one that begins with P. It's kind of a French name. That the one report said that they actually found fecal matter And look, if you're drinking, honestly, if you're drinking the spring water right from the spring, probably a bunch of animals go in the bathroom in there. Wouldn't be surprising. But that evidently we've taken as it's private. It must be better. And we've kind of, in this weird way, been trained like Pavlovian dogs to think anything done by the public, anything done by our government, anything done by us is somehow bad. But anything done by the profiteers, good. Except not. Now, for me, the message out of all of this, and the reason I bring this up, is because, I want to do away with the bottled water. It's insane. We should ditch that immediately. We should build infrastructure across this country that makes our pipes better. We upgrade that. And we put, drinking fountains everywhere like we used to have. I remember going to the park and playing basketball, and there were drinking fountains, several of them. And they were free. And you know what we used to do? Because we didn't kind of want to suck out of the same tube as everybody else. We brought our own bottles. We didn't have bottles, we just brought cups. But same idea. So use reusable bottles. Glass ones preferably, steel ones probably. Get away from the plastic. But rebuild the infrastructure. And oh, by the way, save yourself a ton of money. It's insane to me that we're buying water from some of these massive companies. It's amazing to me. And the guy who makes the cocoa mix, Nestle, the largest water pimp in the world, their CEO once said that water isn't a right, which means you should have to buy it if you want to live. And what better profit motive than I have what you need to live? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But like I said, I'm thrilled to see that we're going to get something. It's not perfect, not by any means, but I think going to move us in the right direction, get us started, and then, hopefully we get this other half of it. Now, none of this stuff is done yet. This just got through the Senate, so I'm still happy, still guardedly optimistic that the House isn't going to tank it because we got to get the other side done too. But some good stuff so far. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, Trey Crowder is going to be here to share some thoughts, the liberal redneck, on what's going on down south and around the southern area, especially around the vaccine. Quick break. Right back with Trey. Stick around.
There's nothing more American than workers standing up, and the union gives a voice to win. On the Rick Smith Show.